So welcome to those of you who are getting the video. This morning we are going to be working with a resistance band, some sort of a stretchy guy, and that should be all that you'll need. So we're going to make our way over to our mats and get started. And you can start, as always, you could start sitting or lying down. But our focus today is going to be on stability. And one of the best ways to cultivate stability is to feel our connection to the ground. So if we're sitting, we want to really feel all the parts of the body that touch the ground, our sitting bones, any parts of the legs, and feel that connection to that strong, solid ground beneath us. If we're lying down, we're going to feel all the parts of the body that are connected to the floor and really consider planting your 2 feet in the soil of the ground beneath you. So you may want to close your eyes or soften your gaze, but we'll begin with that awareness of groundedness, of connection, of solid steadiness. We'll also begin by turning off my phone. I apologize. Let's just turn it off. I apologize about that. So grounding yourself, and then taking some time to connect with the feeling of your body. So the parts of the body that aren't touching the ground. Just kind of scan your body with your mind. Notice the parts, like a lot of times when we connect with how we're feeling, we notice the parts of the body that are not feeling great. So it's important to recognize if you've got something going on, or if you're noticing tension. That's important. We can also celebrate the ways that our body feels good this morning. So just take in your physical body experience. And if you are dealing with some sort of limitation or injury or pain, encounter that information in a spirit of empathy and understanding, rather than dismissal or criticism. And that's the spirit we want when we come onto our mats. And this is, I think, a way that yoga is different than just traditional fitness, is that we engage with the movement in a mindful way, with an approach of doing what's right, like making decisions, rather than just mindlessly doing what we're being shown. So we begin by making that connection with our bodies and making a commitment to honor ourselves for how we're feeling today. And like so many other parts of this practice, we can take that into our day, into our lives. Can we go through our day offering ourselves what we need? This practice on our mat can be a springboard to a better relationship with ourselves. So let's just take a little time to do some deep breathing. Feel that breath flowing in and down, really recognizing how it feels to breathe deeply, fully, and expansively. And then we'll practice letting that breath empty out. For those of us who've been doing this practice for a while, we understand that the exhalation is important. It's something we neglect, and many people never let that breath empty all the way out, but we do it consciously, intentionally, to calm the nervous system. So one more round of a full, expansive, deep breath in, and that full releasing, letting go of breath. And then as we transition to a more natural breath rhythm, just maybe recognizing that sense of calm steadiness that comes forth when we do that intentional breathing. So we can do movement to build steadiness, but we can also work with our minds, with our breath, to cultivate that steadiness that's within us without even doing any movement, although breath is movement. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you're sitting, we're going to go ahead and lie down. And let's take our feet off the floor and bring our knees into chest. And as you hug your knees in, maybe give a little stretch into your low back. Take your hands on the insides of the knees and push them apart into a bent knee straddle. And then as your knees come back together, I want your hands to be pushing your knees out. So your knees are going to start to draw in and your hands are pushing your knees apart. So there's some resistance there. And then place your hands on the outsides of your knees. And as your knees start to open apart, let your hands be pushing in. So there's some resistance to your knees opening. Place your hands on the inside and resist the movement of your knees drawing together by pushing them apart with your hands. And then place your hands on the outside and resist the opening of the knees by pushing in with your hands. So I'm just loving this way to get going here because it really starts to wake up the muscles of the inner thighs. It starts to give the hips some active work. And this bent knee position can be soothing to the low back. So let's do that a couple more times, just resisting as you open your knees apart and then resisting as your knees come back in. Great, you can release your arms. Let's point the feet and lift the legs up in the air and then flex your feet. We're going to open into a straddle, long leg straddle, and then point your toes and bring your legs back. And then flex your feet and open into a straddle, point and bring them up. One more time like that, flex and open and point and come back up. Now keep your toes pointed as you open your legs, flex your feet and bring them back up. Point and open and flex and up. One more time, point and open and flex and bring them up. Great. All right, we're gonna take our arms and we're gonna grab onto one leg and curl up, slide your hand up that leg and drop the other leg down. So it just hovers off the floor. And then switch, bring that leg up, grab the other leg, lower that other leg down, and then switch. So you're getting a little stretch in the back of the leg and we're lowering the other leg down. So just keep breathing here. I'm not going to prescribe the way we breathe, but just let's not hold the breath. We'll just do this a couple more times, alternating the leg that you're grabbing onto as the other leg lowers down. And last two here. And then bring both legs up, but release your head to the floor. Then lift your head up and clasp your hands under your head. Let the weight of your head rest into your hands, elbows wide. We're going to take a breath in. As we exhale, we'll curl up head, neck, and shoulders. And then let's also reverse curl those hips up. And then we're going to roll the hips out as we inhale the head back. So we're going to exhale and curl up head, neck, shoulders, and hips, and inhale and roll out. Exhale, curling up, inhaling, rolling out. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Keep going here. Waking up the upper belly and the lower belly here, getting them working. So an important part of stability is having a strong core and having an awareness of where our center is, where our center of balance, our center of movement is. So connect with that power center right in the middle, kind of, right by your navel. The area just around, above, and below your navel, the center of your body. Feel that movement kind of initiating from there. Let's do two more like this. Lifting and lowering, and lifting and lowering. All right, place your head on the floor. Your arms can be, let's put our arms out at our side. And I want you to bend your knees. So an important part of stability, in addition to knowing like your center, is to have a connection with your midline, nose, chin, sternum, pubic bone. So can we keep that line really steady and take those bent knees just a little bit off to one side? So if your knees go to one side, your hips want to lift up and shift to that side, but can you move the knees just small enough so that that midline, that lower part of your midline doesn't veer off of being connected to the line from your nose, your chin, your sternum. Bring your knees back center, take them just a little bit to the other side, but try to keep that midline from shifting, and then bring your knees to center. Take those knees just a little bit to the side. So the knees want to go to the side, but the core is trying to stabilize to keep that midline from veering off of that line. Come back to center, take your knees just a little bit to the other side. So the movement is small, but the intention, the work is quite challenging. Knees come center, over to one side. So you can't go very far without losing that midline stability. Come center, take them a little bit to the other side. You're really working to keep that midline from shifting to the side and where the hips are. One more time, over to one side. I hope this is making sense to you. And then back to center, and then over to the other side without letting that line shift. All right, come back to center, release your feet down. So we had our hip flexors, contracted that whole time. So let's just do a bridge pose to open up the front of the hips. So feet planted, arms at your side. Go ahead and press into the feet, start to peel the spine up off the floor. Take your hips up into the air. Come up as high as feels right for you, letting the knees and shins go a little bit forward as your hips go up. Take a breath at the top. And as you exhale, lower your spine down. Just take a little time to unfurl your spine onto the floor. Let it gradually roll down. And then eventually just arrive in your neutral spine. Take a moment here to breathe. Notice, connect, and feel. And then let's roll to our sides. So we're going to do some work to address strength in the hips, which are very important for balance. So let's bend the knees forward. So the knees are stacked one right on top of the other. So this top hip is stacked right on top of the one beneath it. We'll get our shoulders stacked one on top of the other. And then let's take that top leg and extend it out straight so it aligns with the line of the body. And we're just going to lift that leg up and then bring it back down. And you can try to get your heel slightly higher than your foot, because the tendency is for maybe the foot to turn up a little bit, and that will target more of the front of the thigh. And we want to target the outer thigh and into the hip and glute here. So we're just going up and down and up and down and up and down and up. Now let's do some circles. So circle that leg around. And as you're circling, can you keep the hips really solid so they're not rocking and rolling front and back? The movement is all in the leg. And the hips just stay stacked, one on top of the other. So circle in this direction 1 or 2 more times. And then let's change direction on that circle. Circling it around the other way. Nice steady movement. You're breathing here. And do that a couple more times. And then just rest that leg on top of the other leg. We'll push ourselves up, swing our legs around. We'll do that same thing on the other side. So lowering down and bringing your knees forward. One knee even with the other, hip stacked, shoulders stacked. And then we'll lift that leg, top leg up and take it straight out, aligning it with your body. Maybe take your heels slightly higher than your toes and lift the leg up and lower it down. and lift it up and lower it down. And lift and lower. So strong hips support strong knees, support strong ankles. And we want strength in all those areas of the body to keep us strong and steady. We were talking about osteoporosis this morning, and thinning bones is just a fact of life as we get older. And so we want the strong muscles to support the bones, and we want to cultivate steadiness so that we don't fall. So let's circle now. Circle that leg around. Make some big controlled circles with that leg. Yeah. Let's circle in this direction 2 more times. And then we'll change direction on that circle. I always find the second leg is harder as we use it to stabilize that first leg. So maybe you're feeling this. I know I am. Let's do 2 more. Nice work. All right. We'll rest that leg on the other leg. Let's make our way around to all fours. And as we come on to all fours, I think I mentioned we're going to be working with a resistance band. So take your resistance band and place it across your mat so that your hands are on top of it, and get your hands right under your shoulders, your knees right under your hips. So take a moment here to just feel the line of your spine, nice and long. If we're gazing down at the floor, the back of the neck is long as well. Let's take a breath in. And as we exhale, we'll drop the tailbone down and round through the back, pushing into the hands, dropping the head, maybe taking the hips back just a bit. And then let's rock forward and returning to that long neutral spine. And then we'll start to extend. So we'll lift the tail, drop the belly and chest, pull the heart forward, look forward, inhaling. So just do those 2 movements one more time. Exhaling into cat. And then inhaling into cow. And then turning back to your long neutral spine. So from here, I'd like you to take the band and grab it with one hand and bring that hand straight back. So it's kind of in line with your hip. And that arm isn't going to move from the shoulder to the elbow, but the lower part of the arm, we're going to bend it in and then press it straight back. So we're working the tricep. We're going to bend in and press it straight back. And we can just work with the arm, or as that arm is back, you could take the opposite leg and reach out with your heel. So there's a little more stability work here. And with that leg out behind you, bend your arm in and press it straight back. Bend your arm in and press it straight back. Now you could lower your toe down as you bend the arm and lift that leg straight up if you like. So it's a little bit, a lot of things to think about. So it's fine to just keep the leg straight back, but if you want to drop the toe as you then lift the leg as you extend the arm back. So let's do 4 more. If you're moving the leg, make sure you keep that support of the belly so you're not dropping the back, arching the back. Now let's do 4 more. 4 and 3 and 2 and last one. Let's hold it out here. Hold that arm back, hold that leg out, take a breath, and then release. So that hand and knee come down. I'm just going to switch around so you can see me better. So the other arm now, we're going to take that arm straight back. So that arm is kind of by the hip. And the movement of the arm just hinging from the elbow, bending in and pressing straight back. Bending in and pressing straight back. You could just do the arm. You could add the opposite leg extending out behind and bend in and press straight back just with the leg extended, because we got to balance. So those muscles that keep us from toppling over, our stabilizers, kind of turn on here. Or if you like, you could touch your toe as you bend in and then extend the leg back. So if you're moving the leg, as you lift the leg, try to keep the back from arching. Sometimes we lift the leg by arching the back, but I want you to lift the leg from the strength of the hamstrings and glutes. So we're bending and extending, bending and extending. Let's do 4 more. And 3 more. And 2 more. And as we hold the arm and leg up and back here, let's get nice and long, heel to crown, take a breath. And then you can release your hand down, release your knee down. Let's go ahead and sit back into child's pose. As we bring our forehead down, it either rests on the floor or on our bent arms. Let's take a moment to breathe, check in, allow that exhale to empty. Offer ourselves a little love, acceptance, encouragement, support. And with our next breath in, we'll lift our heads up. You can move your strap off to the side. Reach your arms out in front. Come onto knees. Curl your toes under. Take your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in and out here, moving in any way that is supportive for you. You might pedal your heels down. You might move your hips. You might shake your head. Just kind of play around with what feels nice for you here. Kind of enjoy the experience of being upside down, seeing the world from a different perspective. And then let's just find a way to get our spine as long as we can, taking those hips way up and back as we take one more deep breath in and out. And then we'll walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering our heels down, ending up folded over bent knees. We'll take a deep breath into the upper back. Allow that breath to release and empty. And then we'll draw the belly in and begin to roll ourselves up. Taking our time to unfurl the spine and stack those vertebrae. Eventually lifting the head up. Let's feel our feet planted now as we reach our arms out and inhale the arms up. And then we'll exhale our arms down at our sides. Great. All right, let's pick up our bands and we're gonna take some time again to really feel our connection to the ground, feet right beneath us. Feel the roots going down from your heels, from the 5 balls of your feet, all 5 toes. Feel that connection. And then take your band and just have your arms resting down in front. So check in with your posture and notice if your head is pitched a little bit forward. Can you get those ears right over your shoulders, maybe tucking your chin under a bit rather than lifting your chin up to adjust your posture. And then take your arms forward. Actually widen your grip a little bit so that you can take your arms straight out to your side. So that band is kind of resting across your collarbones. Can you imagine your collarbones moving out to where your hands are? So you've got some tension in the strap, in the band, but you can open your arms out wide. So check in with the alignment of your spine here. Maybe knit your ribs in just a little bit so that you can maintain that alignment, that neutral alignment of your spine as you take your arms up and as you start to take them behind you. Now, as the arms go behind, some of us might push the ribs forward or arch the back, but can you keep that alignment, knitting your ribs? And maybe the arms can go all the way down. And then try to keep that alignment of your spine as your arms reach up and overhead and then forward and down. You can let them relax as they come down. So again, pull that band apart, take it up and overhead as the arms go around and behind. Pull that band apart, take it up and overhead as the arms come forward and down. Just do a couple more. Breathing in as you go up and back. And breathing out as they come forward and down. One more time. Just taking those arms through their range of motion with a little bit of action, a little bit of resistance here. Nice. All right, let's take the band and place it on the floor, just one end of it, and then step on it with that same foot as the same hand. And then reach down and grab it so there's some tension in the band. So it kind of pulls your arm down, right? There's a lot of resistance on the band, but you're not so much resistance that you're tipped over. You can stand straight, but there's enough resistance that if we think about nice alignment of the spine, so tuck the chin, get your ear right over your shoulder, and then start to drop your head away from the side where the band is. So with that shoulder staying down, you might feel a nice stretch in the side of your neck. So with your head tipped over to the side now, I want you to start to take your gaze up toward the ceiling. So keep your head tipped to the side, but turn your eyes up toward the ceiling. And then let your gaze follow, or let the positioning of your head follow your gaze. So let your head start to turn up toward the ceiling as well, where your eyes were looking, but your head is still tipped over to the side. So take a breath here as you're looking up at the ceiling. And then keep your head facing up toward the ceiling, but turn your gaze back towards your device. And then let your head follow your gaze till you get to the point where your head is to the side, but you're looking forward. And then one more thing, we're going to turn our gaze to the floor, and then we're going to let the head follow the gaze so that you're looking down at the floor. Your head is facing the floor. And then one more time, turn your gaze towards your device, and then let the position of your head follow. Nice. And then come back up. And you can remove the strap. I bet things feel different on this side than this side. So let's even things up here. So we're going to step on the band with the other foot and then reach down so there's resistance pulling that hand down. It's going to keep your shoulder from hiking up. Now check your alignment. If your head is forward, you might take one finger and tuck your chin in and up so the back of the neck is long, and then start to let your head drop to the other side. And the shoulder stays down, so you get a little stretch there, right? So now take your gaze up toward the ceiling, but your head doesn't turn, just your gaze goes up to the side, up toward the ceiling, and then let your head follow. So that your gaze and your head are looking up at the ceiling. And then let your gaze go back towards your device. And then let your head follow. Then let your gaze go down to the floor. And then let your head follow. And then let your gaze come back towards your device. And let your head follow. And then come up to stand. Great. All right. Thank you for doing that. Maybe you notice a little more freedom in the neck and shoulders. So we can again set our band aside. We're going to come and stand at the back of our mats. And let's plant our feet, stand tall, take the arms out, inhale and reach up and overhead. As we exhale, we're going to swan dive forward. Let's walk our hands out and make our way into a plank position. So as we come into a plank position, we want to feel length from heel to crown. Our feet can be hip distance apart. Now we could be here or we could drop to our knees. I want us to try to lift a hand up and put it down. Lift a hand up and put it down. Lift a hand up and put it down. And as we're doing this, try to keep your hips facing the floor rather than turning to the side. So we're just doing a little weight bearing work for the shoulders. If your hands or your wrists give you trouble, you'd want to be on your knees to have a little less weight. Let's just do a couple more of these. And then can we bend the elbows a bit? So we have the triceps kicking in as the elbows point back. We'll take another breath. And then let's lower down. You could drop to your knees first if you like, bringing the body all the way down, chest into the floor. And then let's push right back up. So draw the belly in, try to push up as a unit onto your knees, curl the toes under and lift your knees and lift up and back to down dog. Take a breath here. Exhale to straight arm plank. Try a little bend in your elbows and then lower yourself all the way down. And then we're going to push back up and come up and back to down dog. We'll do that a few more times. Lowering into straight arm plank, little bend in the elbows. You might drop to your knees and then lower down, or just lower down. You might come up to your knees and then lift your knees and then go up and back to down dog. And again, lower to straight arm plank. Try a little bend in the elbows and then lower yourself down. Let the belly support you as you push back up and go up and back to down dog. Last one here. Lower yourself to straight arm plank. Try a little bend in your elbows and then lower all the way down. We're going to stay down this time and we're going to come onto our forearms. So get your elbows right under your shoulders, fingertip to elbow, elbow to fingertip. We're going to slice down with the forearms to lift the chest. Let's curl the toes under and we're going to lift up to knees, or we could lift the knees up. And if the knees are up, I want you to try like marching, 1 foot up at a time. Another option is to tap a toe to the side, tap a toe to the side. Or you could just hold your forearm plank, or you could just be on your knees. So make it challenging for you. And if your low back is bothered, try lifting your hips slightly higher. And let's hold for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Lower down. Let's take our elbows wide, rest our head on our hands. Let everything relax for a moment. Sometimes I like to shake my hips a little side to side to release some tension that may have accumulated back there. Breathe in and out. Let's press the front of the hips down and lift the legs up, pointing back through the toes, working through that back line of the legs. Then relax your legs down. Let's bring our arms to our side, palms up. And we're going to lift one leg up. Doesn't have to be a high lift. And then lift the opposite arm off the floor. Then lower. Lift the other leg and the opposite arm and lower. One leg, opposite arm, lower. Other leg, opposite arm, lower. A little faster. One and then the other. One and then the other. One and then the other. A little faster. One, other. One, other. Opposite arm, opposite leg. One, other. One, other. And then can you go even faster? So it's flutter, 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 flutter. Good job. All right, let's push back all the way back to child's pose. Let your spine round. Take a moment, connect, breathe, offer love. Yes. All right, make your way to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and out here. Then walk your hands back towards your feet, lowering your heels down. We're going to drop into chair. So we're going to bend the knees and lower the hips. We're going to sweep the arms forward. Sitting back with your weight in your heels, with your arms reaching forward. You could keep your arms here or try bringing them up alongside your ears. We'll take a breath in and out here. And then push into the feet and legs as we inhale and rise up and reach up. And then exhale, arms down at our sides. Great. Let's pick up our stretchy band. And we're going to step on it with one foot. And then we'll have our feet hip distance apart. We'll take a big step back with the other foot that's not stepping on the band. So we want that back heel lifted, our hips squared forward. We're going to bend the back knee and bend the front knee. And then we want enough resistance in this band so that when we curl our arms up, it's hard and they want to go down really fast. So we're going to slowly lower them. So curl up as you lunge and slowly lower. Curl up and slowly lower. So a lot of resistance on the band. So it's hard to pull it up and it's hard to lower it slowly because your arms want to pull down quickly. So you're really feeling those biceps as you curl up and as you slowly lower. And we curl up and slowly lower. Let's do 4 more. And 3 more. And 2 more. Intentionally slow here. And last one, lower it really slowly. Resist, 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 and down. Now you want to put a little less resistance on the band. Hold it a little further back. So for this next one, 2 options. You might want to look here. We can bend the knee and lean forward, and we can keep that back foot on the floor as we fly the arms out to the side. Or the other option would be to balance on the front leg, lift the back leg up, and then lift out to the side. So I'm cheating, my foot's against the wall, so I'm going to move more forward. So again, we're just flying the arms out to the side, and maybe we're doing that with our toe on the floor, or maybe we're incorporating some balance work here. So lifting straight out, your palms face the floor, and let's do 4 more. Lift, and lift, and lift. Let's lift and hold, and take a breath, and then bring the arm down and step that foot forward. We're going to change legs. We're going to step on it with the other foot. Take a big step back with the foot that's not on the band. Your feet are hip distance apart. Your back heel is lifted. Your hips are squared forward. Now grab down on the band. So there's lots of resistance. So it's hard, it might be too hard, to curl it up. And it's hard to slowly lower. So we're bicep curling, slowly lowering as we bend both knees. Yeah. We're nice and upright. We're not leaning forward here. We're curling and lowering. And curling, slowly lowering. Doing great. Keep it up. We'll do 4 more. Curl and slowly lower. And curl and slowly lower. And curl and slowly lower. This time lower, even slower. Slow, 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 and down. All right, so we're going to bend the front knee and lean forward. Put less resistance on your band. And you could just be here, or you could lift that back leg up, try and balance as you fly out to the side, lifting up. Your palms are facing the floor. You're working the back of the shoulder here, lifting up. Let's do 4 more. 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Let's hold it up. Take a breath, and then lower. Good job. All right, nice work. All right, at this point, what I'd like us to do is to tie our bands around our ankles. So I very nicely have this chair here. I want you to take the band behind you, put your feet together, and then take your band around and tie it together. So your feet are tied together, and then tie it in a big bow. Make it a big bow so you have you don't want to have a big, like, long end hanging off. So it's like a big floppy bow, and your feet are tied together. And then stand up. And then make your way to one side of your mat. All right, hope that made sense. Feet are tied together, but you know, now my feet are a little bit apart because even though they're tied together, it's a nice stretchy band. So we're gonna step out so your feet are about hip distance apart, squat position. And in squat position, I like my toes to angle out slightly, and then we're gonna sit into a squat, knees and toes tracking, and then we're gonna straighten up. And then we're gonna step a little wider and squat. step to the side, and squat. Step to the side and squat. So it's resist and squat. It's like a challenge to step to the side and then you squat. Step to the side and squat. Step to the side. Now we're going to go the other way. Step to the side and squat. Step to the side and squat. So you're working that outer thigh, outer hip, as well as those glutes and hamstrings when we squat. So 2 more in this direction. All right, now I want you to step on an angle forward, and then on an angle forward, then on an angle forward, and on an angle forward. Then we're going to go back, on an angle back, on an angle back, on an angle back, on an angle back. So you maybe end up on your mat. So we're going to again step to the side, sit and squat, step to the side, sit and squat, step to the side, sit and squat, step to the side, squat. 1 more. And then we're going to again angle walk to the front, angle walk, angle walk, angle walk, and then angle walk back. Angle walk, angle walk, angle walk, angle walk. 1 more time. Step to the side, sit and squat. 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 Nice work. All right, we're going to keep this tied up feet and legs here. And we're going to work on balance and hip mobility and stability in one more way. You might want to have a chair or a wall to hold on to here. So we're going to put the weight on one leg, and then the other leg, we're just going to do little pulses forward. So pulse, 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 pulse. Then take that leg out to the side. Pulse, 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 pulse. Then take that leg back. Pulse, 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 and back out to the side. Pulse, 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 pulse. Now put your weight on that foot. Take the other leg forward. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Out to the side. Pulse, 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 pulse. Straight leg back. Pulse, 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 and out to the side. Pulse, 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 pulse. Nice work. All right, go ahead and untie your band, and we're going to come into a wide stance. We're going to turn the back foot in and turn the front foot out. Now, this is your front leg. Hold that band in that hand and take that arm up, bend your elbow, and grab the band behind. Get your hands pretty close together. But even if your hands could clasp, keep your hold on your band. So when we do this, we take our arm up and back like this. A lot of us are going to arch our back or push our ribs forward. So let's knit our ribs in and try to align our spine. So our head isn't forward. Sometimes having our arm back here, we push our head forward. So think about the alignment of your spine. And then we're going to bend the front knee. And as we do that, I just want you to pull up and down and then straighten. So we're going to pull up and down as we bend the knee, and then release that as we straighten the leg. So pull up and down and back. Bend and straighten. Bend. Well, I guess, yeah, we're doing the opposite. Bending and straightening with the arms and the legs. But hopefully this is working for you. Bend, pull up and down, straighten. Yeah. Let's do 4 more. So you're pulling down with the bottom arm, pulling up with the top arm. 3, 2. Let's hold it up and down here. Take a breath. And then straighten the leg. Bend, release your bottom arm, and then bring that top arm around. Turn your feet forward. Turn your feet the other way. This is your front leg. Place the band in that front leg hand. Bring your arm up, bend your elbow, and then reach back and find the band. Walk your hands close to each other, but not so far that you can't align your spine, right? So get your head back and up, knit your ribs in so you're not pushing them forward, And then pull up and down as you bend your front knee. And then release that as you straighten. Pull up and down, bend, release to straighten. Pull up and down, release. Pull up and down, release. Yeah. Working triceps, working shoulders here. Outer back foot stays planted. We can breathe in as we press up. Exhale, back. 4 more here. 4 and 3 and 2. Last one. Hold, breathe, and then release. So release your bottom hand first. Release your top hand. Bring your feet forward. Just take that band behind you. Hold it in your 2 hands. Your hands can be pretty close together. With your feet forward, take a breath in, stand tall. As we exhale, let's hinge forward to flat back. Now holding that band, pull it apart, reach it back towards the wall behind you. Then let yourself tip over so your head drops toward the floor. You can soften your knees here. You might want to widen your grip a little as you bring your arms up toward the ceiling. Maybe your arms drop even forward a bit. Breathe in and out here. Then reach your arms back towards the wall behind you. Press into your feet and legs, rise halfway up. Then pause here. And on your next inhale, press into your feet and legs and rise all the way up. Great. Walk your feet together or jump your feet together. And we're going to make our way down to the floor. So as we come down, we're going to sit sideways and we're going to loop the band around the balls of the feet. So we have something to hold on to as we roll up and roll down. So your heels are on the floor. You got a little hold on the band. Root your sitting bones down to sit up nice and tall and take a breath in. As you're breathing in, start to tuck your tailbone under a bit and start to roll yourself down. And as your lower ribs hit the floor, then exhale to roll down the rest of the way till your head comes down. Now keep your neck long as you breathe in, lift your head up and start to roll yourself up. And then as your low ribs start to come off the floor, exhale to come the rest of the way up. So we're sitting up nice and tall. As we inhale, we start to roll the tailbone under, start to roll the spine down. Once the low ribs hit the floor, we'll exhale to complete the roll down. Keeping the neck long, we'll inhale, lift the head. And then as the low ribs start to come up, we exhale to complete the roll up. We'll sit up nice and tall. Inhale as you roll back. Exhale to complete the roll down. Then inhale to roll up. And exhale to complete the roll up. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling back, trying to articulate that spine. Exhaling to complete that roll down. Neck long. Inhale to come up. Exhale to complete that roll up. This next time we'll stay down. So inhale to begin. And exhale all the way down. Great. All right. Slide your left leg out from the strap and then take the right leg up in the air and then slide your left leg back out straight. So go ahead and push your foot up into the band, pointing your toes, and then pull down to flex that foot. Push your foot up into the resistance of the band and then pull down and flex that foot. One more time. Push up and pull down. Put the 2 parts of the band in one hand. Open your other arm out to the side. Start to open that leg out to the side. Just let it go as far as it wants to go. Getting a nice stretch along the inner thigh. And then point your foot and bring that leg back up. Now, take your leg that's on the floor, bend the knee and place that foot down. Take that top leg, bend the knee and drop that ankle above that knee. You can take the band off, set it aside for a moment. Let's lift the bottom foot up off the floor to bring the legs in toward us. We'll flex both feet. Let's reach through between the 2 thighs and grab onto the back of the thigh that's further away, and then grab your hands together and pull that thigh in. You can just be hugging in, or you might take the legs an inch or two to the left and back to center, maybe an inch or two to the right and back to center. Maybe hug them in a little closer for one more breath. And then release that bottom leg, release your top leg. Finding your band again, loop it around the ball of your left foot, take that left leg up in the air, slide your right leg out straight on the floor. And with that left leg up in the air, push your foot up into it so you're like pointing your toes, and then pull down to flex that foot. And again, push up, point your toes, pull down and flex. One more time, push up, pull down. And then put the two parts of the strap in your left hand, let that leg open out to the side. Your other arm can open out to your other side as far as you want to go, and then point your foot to bring the leg back up. Now bend the knee on the leg that's on the floor and place that foot on the floor. Bend the knee of the leg that's in the air and drop that ankle just below the bent knee. Take the band off to the side. Lift your bottom foot up off the floor. Flex both feet as you hug your legs in towards you. Reach between the two legs and reach around and grab that thigh and pull in. And again, you could just stay here, or you could take the legs an inch or two to the right and back to center, inch or two to the left and back to center. Maybe hug them in a little bit closer with one more breath. And then we'll release the bottom leg, release the top leg. And it's time for us to begin to transition to our final relaxation. So if it's chilly where you are, make sure you put on a layer or put on some socks or cover up. And then if you're more comfortable with something under your head or under your knees, be sure to take some time to offer that to yourself so that when you lie back, you're as comfortable as you can be with your legs extended. Let your arms just drop to your sides. Shift around until you feel really, really comfortable so that you can lie there and your body is able to relax. So we're ready for this. We just worked all kinds of muscles. And after a muscle is worked, it can relax more than it could relax if it has not been worked. So the body is ready to relax. And all we need to do is allow it to do that. We want to give ourselves permission to let go. There's nothing we need to hold on to now. Nothing we need to force or control. We can just allow ourselves to release, to soften, to open, to relax. The legs are heavy. The arms are heavy. The weight of the hips melts into the floor. The gut unclenches, releases. The area around the heart begins to soften and to open. And as the head rests back, the neck relaxes, the jaw releases, the eyes relax, and the forehead smooths. And we let our minds be like our body. It's just resting. Nothing we need to focus on or think about. Just kind of floating freely in this open space. Connecting with what it feels like to be relaxed, at ease. Connecting with what it feels like to be in our natural state. Our natural state is open, unguarded, peaceful, and free. Resting in the stillness, the openness. Giving ourselves permission to just be here. Restoring ourselves. So we could choose to stay longer if we like. If we're ready to transition, we might open our eyes. Bend our knees and bring our feet to the floor. Gently roll to our sides, just taking some time to transition. Eventually making our way up to seated, finding a way to sit comfortably, bringing our hands to heart. Closing out our practice with gratitude. And as we prepare to move into the rest of our day, maybe setting an intention for how we want to move forward. Well, thank you for being here this morning. Peace. Have a wonderful day. Take care.